Hello, my name is Jim Sipes, and I am a farmer and rancher in the heart of the lesser prairie chicken habitat area. The listing of the lesser prairie chicken as a threatened species will impact our county governments, our communities, our farms and ranches, and our energy development in the historic range of the lesser prairie chicken. The historic range of the lesser prairie chicken is about 20 million acres. It affects 85 counties in Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, and Colorado. We are already seeing impacts because of the listing as threatened. We have seen wind generator projects leave the area. We've seen oil and gas companies pull out of the area. We have seen seismograph crews quitting doing seismograph work. And we're seeing effects on farms and ranches and the amount of grazing that we're able to do. We're really concerned about what will happen if the species become listed as endangered. If that occurs, the exemptions that we currently have for farming and ranching to occur and for energy development to occur will cease because of the listing as endangered. One of the concerns that we have with the listing of the lesser prairie chicken as a threatened species is the impact that that will have on energy development, primarily oil and gas development. We rely very heavily on that for our tax base in our rural communities in the area of the lesser prairie chicken. If we see a reduction in the amount of energy development, we will see a reduction in our tax base. And this will be a huge impact on our counties and eventually probably on our property taxes. We're also concerned because the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service would like to see as many as 6 40 or 50,000 acre permanent habitat easements for the lesser prairie chicken. And all of these permanent habitats will be removed from the tax base, which will eventually affect all of our property taxes. I've been working for the last year and a half trying to find a resolution to the lesser prairie chicken listing. I've spent 42 days away from my family farm because this issue will dramatically affect the way we do business if this species is listed as an endangered species. We will have to apply for permits to do things that we would normally do, and those permits will take time and additional money. Farming and ranching is difficult in this area, and we don't need any more things to make it even more difficult.
I'm Marita Hauser. I'm the director of a Chamber of Commerce in a small community in the lesser prairie chicken habitat area. I want to talk to you about how what happens on our farms affects Main Street in a small community. Let me show you. Farmers and ranchers depend on being able to raise a crop in order to patronize the restaurants, the hair salons, the local clothing stores, the grocery store. They need to do business in their small community. In order for those businesses to be successful, the farmer needs to be successful. We've had a period of drought where they've struggled with raising a crop due to the drought. That seems to be easing up a little bit, but now we've got issues with the lesser prairie chicken. If we have rules and regulation put on us so that we can't farm and ranch, we're going to have issues with our Main Street businesses. They're not going to be able to expect the farmers to come in and spend income if the farmers don't have the income to spend. If we don't stop excessive regulations on farmers and ranchers, more and more often what you're going to see on Main Street in rural America is a going out of business sale sign. Farmers and ranchers won't have the money to come in and spend. Our Main Street businesses will not be able to survive. It's that important.
My name is Mick McNair, and I am a county commissioner in the prairie chicken habitat area. We have a grave concern about how this Endangered Species Act and the lesser prairie chicken is going to affect our communities in this area, and especially our courthouses and county government funding. Oil and gas, wind energy, pipelines, agriculture, these all make up a huge part of the revenue that we take in through property taxes. If this goes to a endangered listing of the prairie chicken, we are going to lose value of our property, and thus we're going to lose taxes. And at that point, we have a lot of concern about how are we going to fund our county roads and keep them maintained? How are we going to fund our local police departments? How are we going to fund our EMS and fire departments? These are essential things of government. And with the loss of revenue that this possibly could cause us, we have some very grave concerns. One of the biggest players in the economies in this area where the lesser prairie chicken is listed as threatened now and may go to endangered is oil and gas. This is how our county governments fund the most essential things in this county. Without oil and gas development, we are looking at cutting budgets and cutting services to our people. We need to fight with everything we have against this listing on the lesser prairie chicken and all the overregulation due to the Endangered Species Act.
Hi, I'm Joe Jury, and we farm and ranch in what has now been declared part of the lesser prairie chicken's habitat area. We have a real concern with this because lesser prairie chicken has been considered or established, put on the list as a threatened species. And with that brings a lot of guidelines and regulations that we're just not real sure about. We think that it could infringe upon our normal farming and ranching practices. And even though under the threatened species list, farming has a 4D exemption, but from what I understand, grazing does not. And that could be a real problem for us in the future. This is what we're talking about. If regulations are used and enforced that go along with the threatened listing of the lesser prairie chicken, we could be held off of our own properties during prime grazing time. It looks like those grazing times from April 15th to July 15th, which are our prime times, are also part of the breeding and nesting season of the lesser prairie chicken. That could be a real problem. We could be held out of here when we need to be on here and when our grass is needed most. It's that overreach of these regulations that has us really concerned and wondering if we can survive this.